NASA's Deep Space Communications Network recently detected an anomaly from one of its long-term classified missions. This mysterious signal loss immediately triggered protocols designed for high-level security scenarios within the agency. The probe in question had been collecting highly sensitive data from a region of space not publicly disclosed. Though NASA hasn't released the probe's name, insiders confirm it was launched under a classified Department of Defense collaboration. Communication ceased without warning, suggesting either a catastrophic failure or intentional interference by an unknown source. Engineers attempted to re-establish contact using backup frequency ranges, but the probe remained unresponsive over several attempts. This mission had been transmitting encrypted signals every 12 hours for nearly 3 years without prior issues. Experts speculate the sudden silence could indicate hardware failure, collision with space debris, or deliberate jamming. The loss is significant because the probe carried instrumentation not used on any other publicly known spacecraft. NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, which managed the probe's operations, has reportedly moved into emergency status mode. The Department of Defense has declined to comment, fueling public speculation about the mission's true objectives. Some astronomers believe the probe was studying solar activity near a magnetically active region on the Sun. Others argue it was charting deep space radiation patterns to improve shielding for future crewed missions to Mars. Still, the complete radio silence has baffled mission specialists who had contingencies for almost every scenario. Former NASA officials note that even power-depleted spacecraft usually send at least a final emergency ping. Amateur radio enthusiasts and satellite trackers have attempted to locate the probe's signal with no success. One concerning theory suggests the probe may have been intercepted or hacked by a foreign space power. Cybersecurity experts say signal hijacking is theoretically possible, but would require immense resources and precision. This possibility has escalated concerns within the Pentagon regarding space-based security vulnerabilities. The classified probe had reportedly collected data from cosmic radiation belts critical to missile defense algorithms. NASA's public silence has only intensified rumors that the mission involved more than scientific exploration. Past government missions like Corona and Hexagon were declassified years later, revealing extensive espionage functions. This probe may eventually fall into the same category of high-tech operations hidden under scientific banners. Meanwhile, the sudden loss of signal underscores how little control humans truly have over distant technologies. NASA's top engineers are racing against time to deploy automated reboots through pre-programmed onboard logic circuits. If successful, these routines could trigger the spacecraft to resume basic beacon signaling. However, engineers warn that if the computer core was physically damaged, nothing will restore communications. NASA has assembled a crisis team to analyze the last telemetry packet received before the blackout. That final data stream included irregularities in onboard voltage and what appeared to be directional drift. Some suggest the spacecraft may have been physically bumped by an unidentified object or force. Others see evidence pointing toward an internal systems failure, resulting in critical orientation misalignment. The last known coordinates place the probe near a section of space dense with high-energy cosmic rays. Prolonged exposure in this zone might have fried essential circuitry, according to astrophysicists. But that theory doesn't explain why the thermal control system showed normal readings just minutes before silence. Another mystery involves the probe's backup systems, which were supposed to activate within hours of primary failure. No such activation has occurred, which leads many to believe the event was sudden and absolute. The incident has raised questions about how NASA handles risk management in uncrewed long-duration missions. Some scientists criticize the agency for not equipping such vital missions with multiple layered recovery options. Others point out that redundant systems increase weight and cost, limiting what can be launched. Regardless of fault, the loss represents years of planning, engineering, and taxpayer funding suddenly gone. And the most troubling part is that no one truly knows what happened or if it will happen again. The scientific community is calling for more transparency around classified missions involving public agencies. Pressure is mounting for Congress to investigate the circumstances surrounding the probe's sudden disappearance. This isn't the first time NASA has experienced unexplained signal loss in deep space. The Mars Observer vanished in 1993 after nearly a year en route to the Red Planet. That spacecraft also failed to send any final signal, much like this current classified mission. It took NASA nearly a decade to uncover the likely causes behind the Mars Observer's loss. In today's case, time is also of the essence, because classified data may now be adrift in space. Security analysts fear that sensitive information could be harvested if the probe is eventually recovered by others. The growing race among nations to dominate space is turning satellites and probes into valuable targets. International treaties prohibit weapons in space, but enforcement remains largely theoretical and symbolic. Experts warn that space is becoming the next great frontier of geopolitical tension and espionage. And with missions like this shrouded in secrecy, the potential consequences are even harder to predict. Some insiders worry this incident could lead to more militarized protocols for future NASA collaborations. This might mean fewer disclosures, tighter access, and even less public accountability moving forward. NASA insists that its primary mission remains science, exploration, and the benefit of all humankind. But this balance is increasingly difficult to maintain in a world of cyber threats and global rivalries. Space exploration, once purely aspirational, now doubles as a high-stakes game of strategic dominance. The silence from the missing probe reminds us that even in space, politics plays a leading role. And until the signal returns or its loss is fully understood, we're left with speculation and silence.